to Not in ShawScope with me, Darren Jones, him,
Clive Davis,
and him,
Nick Sheehan.
Hello. So this is the podcast where we bounce off from the usual in ShawScope podcast. So we've done some ShawScope stuff. We've done some ShawScope stuff around Romance of the Three Kingdoms. And this is the stuff we're hoovering up that's also related to Romance of the Three Kingdoms, but not to Shaw Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we start, we should actually mention that we did do a good probably hour and a half, 2 hours on this a few days ago. And unfortunately, the recording, for some reason, got flushed down the toilet.
Yes, I think our rivals in podcasting, realizing how wealthy we were becoming off the back of this extremely popular podcast, tried to steal it and put it up ahead of us. So we've had to re-record it now.
Yeah, I think people have just caught sight of our platinum and diamond studded Shaw Brothers shield necklaces.
That's right.
You know, Mr. T style. And in a way, it's our own fault.
I pity the fool who doesn't listen to this.
Hey!
So anyway, yeah, so we're doing this again. So if we sound as if we're, just rolling out some tired old shit we already talked about, that's because that's exactly what we're doing.
I'd like to think we workshopped it. I'd like to think that by talking into the ether for 2 hours about this, that we just will be a well-oiled machine this time. And all my jokes will be that much better when I tell them the second time. Yeah.
Did you tell any jokes the first time, Nick?
Yeah, but you didn't get any of them. I kept having to explain them to you.
Right.
So that made them even funnier.
That's always a good sign of comedy, actually.
Yes, yeah. But you have to explain your joke. Right. So let the comedy and the information commence.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Where are we at then? So we're going for.
We started with God of War last time, and I think we're going to do it.
Yeah,
it makes sense to do it in the same order as last time.
Yeah,
so makes perfect sense.
We're doing God of War, Dynasty Warriors, and Ninja in Ancient China. But we also we are short of time this time as well. So there's a whole hilarious kind of stuff. We were talking about Falcon Crest and all sorts of things. We won't be doing that this time because we don't have the time. So yeah.
So now, listeners.
Yes.
Now you have to piece together as your homework.
Yeah, like a quiz.
How we got to Falcon Crest from these three films.
What was the connective tissue? That is the question we have for you.
Yes, Clive. Tell us about connective tissue.
Yes, and that's another one. And what are Darren and Nick's catchphrases? And write it all on a stamp addressed envelope. And send it to us.
Jim will fix it.
And yeah, Jim will fix it for you to suck an old man's cock. And you will win our undying respect.
From beyond the grave.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes. God of War.
Yes.
God of War it is.
You guys hated this. I know this already because we've talked about it once before.
Yes.
And I didn't mind this. I didn't mind this as much as you did.
No, Nick, you don't want to get confusing people. It's God of War, ZHAO, ZILONG, right? It's not just God of War.
Yes. Yeah. Not to be confused with the God of War TV series, all 60 episodes.
That's also God of War, ZHAO, ZILONG. I'm thinking there's a God of War film from a few years earlier with, I think Sammo Hung's in it. Is he?
Yeah, Sammo's in it. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So not that.
Yeah.
No,
the shit one.
Yeah.
You watched the shit one.
Exactly.
AKA God of War, the shit one.
God of War, toilet time.
Okay.
Right, I think that's about it. That's all needs to be said.
So that was shit. No. Although actually, I remember last time we spoke about this modern trend, particularly for mainland Chinese productions, to be all kind of grey, washed out. Everyone wearing this really kind of grey, heavy armour. Everyone's flying about on wires, really badly edited, and there's loads of shit CGI blood.
post 300, speeding up,
yes,
slowing down.
And it isn't just, I would say it's not just Chinese, although the flying on wires maybe, but that it's a general trend in world cinema towards this dowdy, life sucked out of it looking kind of grey wash approach to action.
It's true, but the Chinese do make an awful lot of it, especially if you take into account, as we mentioned before as well, all the slightly lower budget ones that they churn out for streaming, of which there are endless. They give Sci-Fi and Asylum a run for their money recently. It's amazing, actually, how many of those films are out there.
So maybe we'll keep this shorter if I quickly talk about what I liked about the film.
Yeah, go on then.
And then
Nick's going to say some bollocks that isn't true about and if any of you are smart, you listen to me and Darren and don't watch it.
Yeah.
But indulge the little fecker.
The things that I didn't mind about this, some of the action, I think we talked about. Or hang on, now I might be mixing up now. It's been a while since we did this, so maybe I'm actually wrong. No, I'm thinking about stuff from Dynasty Warriors. Anyway,
right.
Shit, never
you
mind.
were thinking of all the beheadings, weren't you?
Yes, what I did like was in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, we have these three brother figures, right? And they do feature in this film, and they feature in the next film we're going to talk about. And in this film, Zhuangde or Liu Bu, however you say it, there's two ways to say his name.
Liu Bei, I think.
Liu Bei.
Yeah.
Zhao Liang is also Zhao Yun, and he fights for Liu Bei. Right?
Yes. And he's basically our hero in this. But that character of Zhuangde in this movie is more of a character. He's more of a three-dimensional character, and I found him more of a likable kind of people's hero who kind of cares. And I don't know. I found that this movie humanized the characters a little bit more. They weren't quite as flat as in some of the other films we watched so far. There was a little bit more attempt to give them a bit more motivation. Now, some of that was very hackneyed, which I know you guys complained about. Some of it was very plot by numbers stuff. But I thought he was a decent actor, and I liked him.
That's Mike Ho, right? Taiwanese actor.
Is he, or is he the guy who played Zhuangde, or is that the guy?
Oh yeah, we made this mistake last time as well, so we'll make it again.
You're thinking about the guy who plays.
No, that's Sikai Nan.
Well, I've got Hu Jungshang, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, we don't know what we're talking about for the second time in a row.
Yeah. No, actually, I agree with Nick. I liked all of the stuff around Zhuangde. So I liked the whole shoemaker thing. I liked the whole dignified leader, strategist, I won't leave the people, defend for themselves thing. I liked all of that. And as you said, the actor was really good. And actually, none of the acting's terrible.
No, we mentioned that before.
Fine, yeah.
That none of the acting is awful. That in general, they take it all very seriously. And we should mention this is from 2020, yes, there is a series from 2016 which runs a bazillion episodes, so we won't be watching that. That's all I've got written down as my main point is well put together, but boring as fuck. That's about.
And they killed the nephew. I appreciated that. Any movie that introduces a child character only to kill them 2 minutes after introducing them with an arrow in the back.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention.
Well, but he comes back, doesn't he?
Oh yes, you're right. He has a little a force ghost. Star Wars bullshit thing near the end.
They could have made something about that. They could have made that a final death.
We forgot to mention in real life.
Inspire someone.
Nick has some issues with his nephew, and it comes out sometimes in the. Oh
podcast. yes. You'll definitely see that.
He plays through it in podcasts. So right, that's enough for that, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a bog standard.
I wish I hadn't taken 10 pages of notes about that film. I feel like that wasn't time well spent.
Yes,
in my life.
Listen. I did the same.
Blame Zoom, because I distinctly remember pressing that record button both times. adamant that it wasn't me who fucked up, it was Zoom.
Yeah. But I don't think we've actually told the listeners what the fuck the film is about. It's about Romance of the Three Kingdoms. There are battles, and there's a hero who's retired and is a fucking blacksmith or a carpenter or some shit. And he has to come back, and he gets a spear, and it's all lovely when he gets his new spear, and he makes some friends, and there's some nice bits and bobs with in rescuing a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And you will fall asleep.
Yes. Because you've seen it all before.
Yeah.
Nothing new in you.
Yeah. Right. So, slightly, well, we had first time round, I think me and Darren were in alignment that we found more of interest, although we didn't necessarily enjoy Dynasty Warriors either. Whereas, memory serves, Nick, you disliked this even more than God of War, didn't you?
Probably yes. I think that's still fair. Although, you know, there are some great things in here. Maybe I just wasn't prepared for how video gamey and how mad this was. But you know.
Yeah, this is from 2021, and this is a Hong Kong Chinese Japanese co-production called Dynasty Warriors, and it is also Romance of the Three Kingdoms adjacent, but it's specifically based on the long-running series of PlayStation games, right? And we went and we had a look at some playthroughs of the old, because I never played this game before in my life, and the only takeaway I took was apparently the original Dynasty Warriors seems to have been a one-on-one beat 'em up in the Street Fighter 2 Mortal Kombat style, and then beginning from Dynasty Warriors 2, it started to become more of a roaming kind of action-adventure game with RPG elements and stuff like that. And this film is pretty much the game come to life, even insofar as having video game-like CGI graphics and battle scenes, right?
Yeah, giant swords that are, you know, twice the size of the people wielding them, and yes. And as we said, the only time I've ever seen this is the one that has people drifting on horses in it.
Yeah,
a la Fast and the Furious.
Which is surely that's worth 90 minutes of your time.
Yes. Unfortunately, the film runs longer than 90 minutes. That's the thing.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Because I remember you saying, Darren, that you'd enjoyed about 2/3 of it, and then it lost you, right? And for me, my takeaway was that it wasn't for me, but for me, it seemed like a film that had almost, I didn't feel qualified to actually, it's not for me, but I suspect if you're a fan of the Dynasty Warriors series, it might actually scratch that itch, right? I think it's going to please someone much younger than me, maybe. It's not necessarily a crap film, it's so out of my wheelhouse that I couldn't really properly judge it. I'm not watching it again, but that doesn't really say anything, you know. Because I'm not watching The Avengers again, even though that was fine, you know. So it's just too long and just not for me, you know.
One strange thing about this film, I felt, was that, you know, our kind of, again, our nominal heroes are the three brothers, right? We've got Juan Day again and his two pals, Speary and Brian Blessed. and then, but they're so flat. There's nothing.
He's alive!
Yeah, they're paper thin. Like, and the acting, like, even their actors are kind of like, they're barely turning in performances, maybe because they know that they're going to be CGI avatars for most of the movie anyway. Whereas I thought actually the two guys playing are more villainous characters, right? Chang Cheh, who ends up becoming the evil prime minister as the novel unfolds. This is really also only the very beginning of the actual. We talked about this, Darren. You said, like, you realize, but 5 minutes from the ending, they're never going to get to the end of this. Like, they're not going to be able to tie up any of these plot points.
Yeah, they're going to do, because that's the thing. Because at the start, or kind of in the middle of the film, all of a sudden you got Diao Chan. So you've got Diao Chan from the Diao Chan film that we reviewed in ShawScope. And we know the plot of that because we've read the book and we've seen the film. And it goes next to nowhere.
I suspect we're going to have a
set up.
Dynasty Warriors
set up at the end of the film.
Yeah. I suspect there will be Dynasty Warriors 2 romance harder, right, in our future, which none of us will be watching. I suspect.
But see, I I think I enjoyed this much more than you two.
Seems like it.
Yeah, because
I tolerated it, and I didn't tolerate God of War, but you seem to have actively enjoyed it.
Yeah. So first, I would estimate the first 2/3 of the film, because I've seen the other, video game films, and we all know they're notorious for being utter shit, right? And I've hated every single one of them.
You're a big
Doom,
fan,
I think,
with the possible exception of Doom. Oh, actually, and Resident Evil. The first Resident Evil film was.
You're a big fan of Super Mario Brothers as well, aren't you?
I haven't seen Super Mario Brothers for a long time, and it's garnered a bit of a cult as Super Mario Brothers.
Yes.
I
think it's just because Dennis Hopper as King Koopa. Right?
Yes, and yeah.
Well, and Bob Hoskins as Mario, isn't it?
And John Leguizamo, I think, plays.
Yeah.
Quite a cast.
And actually, Doom is a good example, right? So if anyone's I hate all of the video game films because I think they're all shit because there's no fucking
even
plot,
the ones that Uwe Boll made.
Everything right. apart from Doom and Resident Evil.
Okay.
Right. First Resident Evil film's okay.
I sorry, just to throw my hat in the ring. I quite get on with the entire Resident Evil films, to be honest with you, because they're so. I don't know. They're so. I don't know. I can't tell one from the other, and I know there's a whole thing that can, like, whenever a new one comes out, there's always a preamble about something called the Umbrella Corporation, and apparently there's a narrative, right? I have no idea what's happening, but it's colourful, and people jump about in a way that kind of pleases my eyes. And it's like a drug. It's just
AB's entertainment. Like I'm picturing these movies are put on the sides of like those playpen cribs, and you kind of like
it's pretty much like they're like the mobiles of modern cinemas, the Resident Evil series, and that's fine.
Well, this is exactly what this film is, right? Regardless of your knowledge, so regardless of your knowledge of the computer game, and I've got none, the same as the rest of you, but it just immediately passed into ridiculousness. It just from the get-go. Someone's whipping out a 15-foot halberd with a blade the size of a fucking human being, and there's laser beams coming out of it.
So you're making it sound good, better than it is.
Well, it kind of is good,
but it's not. But it's not the way
it's not good.
It's not like Buddha's palm or Holy Flame of the Master.
No. Well, in context, you could. No, actually, I'm not even going to go. No, I was going to try and say.
No. I was going to tell you to shove it up your ass, Darren, because it's I'm not having.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough. But what I'm saying is it just immediately it knows what it is, right? There is zero pretension about this.
That's true. That is a plus.
Right? Yeah. So from second one of the film, it's fucking nonsense, right? And they also know it's nonsense.
Yes.
Right? So they're just whipping out all the laser beam fucking halberds and swords and cutting off silly amounts of heads. There's the drifting with a horse, and they know exactly what they're doing with that.
Yeah, it's ancient Fast and Furious, isn't it? It's
pretty much. Yeah. Oh, well,
that's fine. Yeah.
And it's like they're not even trying to hide the fact it's a video game.
Whereas God of War is pretending it's put a berry on and it's brooding.
Exactly. It's got a pair of bongos. And it's doing fucking beat romance of the Three Kingdoms. Which might
be why Nick prefers it a bit more, because he went to art school.
Yes.
Oh,
he's a bit more, into that kind of thing.
Yeah. He's into the 20-minute halberd solos.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. There we go. If Darren rocks up to one of your birthday parties and he starts getting a bit unruly, put on Dynasty Warriors and he'll calm down.
Well, put on the first 2/3 of the Dynasty Warriors.
Turn it off then, right? Because get the cake, because otherwise.
Yeah, because then I got bored of it.
Yeah.
But no, I really liked it. I mean, because and it looks shit. Right? But it simultaneously looks shit and good because the production values really aren't good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think it had that lower budget.
Oh no,
It's
don't
just
think
they
so.
didn't do a very good job.
Well, I think we touched on this a little bit last time as well. I'm wondering how much of that is, and this may be being too forgiving, but I'm not sure if they actually went out of their way to necessarily make it look that good.
That was an
I think that's
aesthetic
part
choice.
of the, yes.
Yeah.
The video gaminess of it all.
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
That's why
and
I was saying I you know, it's not for me to say because it feels as if it is what it is supposed to be.
And then there is there was echo then.
Yep.
And there is there's the weird thing with the three main characters as well. So you've got Zhuangde, not Zhao Zilong, Zhang Fei, and Guan Yu, right? And two of them are like in blackface, in a weird orange blackface, and do not look like real people or real makeup, and they look like they're wearing fake beards.
To be fair,
a big fake gut on
Louis Koo always has a fake orange blackface looking tan.
No. This is so Zhang Fei, right? Which confused me because Zhang Fei, because I said this before in the.
We've all said it all before.
Yeah, I know. But Zhang Fei has got like the big gut and the big red beard. That's how I see Guan Yu. But Guan Yu in this is like the wispy one with a wispy beard and all kind of dignified. Anyway, regardless of that, but yeah, it's none of them look realistic at all. You know, they're all kind of caricatures. You know, and you've got all this kind of lovely countryside because it looks like a lot of it was filmed on location as well. And there's some really cool kind of countryside scenes when they actually get to it, like the lake and the kind of the outcrops and the mountains and all that. And that actually looks
the total digital backlot of God of War.
No. But yeah, again, the stuff that's digital is very obviously digital, and they don't seem to give a shit that it looks like a digital computer game. And I enjoyed that for the most part.
Any final thoughts on Dynasty Warriors, Nick?
Well, I think what I was going to say before was that what was interesting to me was the characters I liked the most, and it felt to me that the movie itself is most interested in were the two villains, were Lu Bu, who is our kind of evil general, who, as we know in Zhao Chan, plays a really central role in that story, right? And basically, they introduced all three of the love triangle in this movie, right? Because what's his name? Who's the evil Dong?
Dong.
Yeah, Dongju. Yeah. So, you know, it seemed to me like it was weighted and weird. Like the acting was so much stronger. Like the actors who played Cho and Lu Bu are far and away turning in more convincing, nuanced performances, given the movie than our three. And maybe they're supposed to be literally player 1, player 2, and player 3, and they're supposed to be so flat so that I can just project myself. I could choose one of them to project myself onto, and that's going to be my entry point into this world. And therefore, we need villains that have a bit more substance and weight, because the movie's dramatic weight has to be somewhere. And I did love Lu Bu's giant peacock feathery whatever the hell it was.
Feather was good because it's like a 5-foot feather, isn't it? Coming out of his head.
So anyway, so 3 stick in the mud middle-aged men jump in the time machine now and go back to a place where they feel much more comfortable. 1993.
Yes.
And to speak,
but which is also
not a place that's comfortable for me at all.
No, that's true. But if you remove all the, I mean, let's not go to 1993 Seattle. Let's go to 1993 mainland China, which is much nicer with its state-sanctioned executions. So this is Chang Cheh's final film, Ninja in Ancient China, and yes, as we mentioned, it's all been done before, but so we spoke Chang Cheh's The Weird Man on the regular ShawScope back in 1980. We didn't speak about it in 1983 when it was released in 1983, which this kind of is in the similar part of the similar territory of Romance of the Three Kingdoms as this film, right?
They are the same characters. I mean, like it is.
Yes.
It is UG.
It feels
It is
looking at it from a different angle, right? Because there was no ninjas in The Weird Man.
Yeah, it's looking at it from a Japanese ninja elemental angle.
Yeah.
Right.
And much less supernatural. Much like I don't think there's any real clear supernatural element in this film at all.
No, not really.
That was definitely supernatural in Weird Man. In this case, is replaced with. We didn't talk about this before, but the whole like Saint Sebastian on the raft scene where he keeps showing up, and it appears like it is just either a mannequin or a corpse propped up to look like.
Well, it's the corpse, isn't it? It is. That is exactly what it is. It's his corpse.
Yeah.
That they're wheeling out, or rather, sailing out
on a raft. Yeah,
that's to freak out the opposition.
So in the interim, Chang Cheh left Shaw, went to Taiwan, made some films there, and then ended up making 6 films in China. This is the last of which, with a kind of, he seems to have had a new group of people clustered around him, right? His last Venoms, I guess.
Baby Venoms.
Yeah, and they kind of, it's quite interesting. He seems to have leaned on them as well for some of these, not this one, but some of, at least not credited here, but some of the other ones, these performers have also been credited with directing those films as well. They have multi-director credits. This one is credited only to Chang Cheh, but I'm sure.
Well, it is Chang Cheh. This is, I mean, you can tell this is Chang Cheh on the.
Oh, I'm sure he's I'm sure he was in charge, but I'm just wondering if sometimes he had a bit of a nap or something.
No doubt.
Someone else took over because he was doing that back in the Shaw days as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Robert Tye was directing half the Venoms films, apparently. Yeah.
And we did mention as well how I think it's worth mentioning again that in 1989, a bunch of people like John Woo and Choi Hak got together to make the film Just Heroes to raise money for Chang Cheh's retirement fund. And then he just took the cash and continued making films.
Did not take the hint.
No. Chang.
The little scamp.
Yes. And he does look a bit like a little... When you see pictures of Chang Cheh, he doesn't look what you expect him to look like, does he?
He looks a bit like a leprechaun, without any prejudice to...
That's fine,
yeah. But he does, he kind of looks like a dumpy little kind of leprechaun, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's not what you expect because of the themes of his films. You expect someone who looks like Lo Mang or someone like that.
Looks like a shaven Olive from On the Buses.
Who was Olive?
She was the redhead one with big glasses.
Man, have you been watching On the Buses recently? Because I don't remember.
You don't remember Olive from On the Buses?
No, I remember the one I remember the most, apart from, of course, oh, get you, butler. I've got him, of course, but is not the main guy, but his best friend, the lanky one with.
Oh yeah.
The really.
Well, it was one of the wives. It was one of them's wife. I think it was Reg Vardy's wife.
Right, you might be onto something there. So you're saying Chang Cheh looks like Olive,
like someone shaved Olive and put a receding black wig on her.
All right.
This seems a bit like when I met.
I'll take your word for it.
It seems a bit like when I met Jörg Buttgereit, the director of Necromantic, and I was sorely disappointed he wasn't a little hunched over Peter Lorre kind of character, and instead it was a strapping.
He's like a tall blonde
German
bloke,
tennis player with like blonde hair and like just.
And he's still. I met him 3 years ago, and same.
He's still
Yes.
He's still.
I'm the only one who hasn't fucking met him. I need to meet him now. I'm jealous.
Yeah, Jörg.
There you go.
He's a cool guy. Yeah. Big Godzilla fan. Huge.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go, Jörg. If you're listening, go and make friends with Aaron.
There we are. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, back to Ninja in China. So, So as we mentioned, this is the story of the Taoist priest. Yes, and
but instead of having a bunch of kind of magical dudes who do kung fu in their little dojo, I think he's got a bunch of ninja who wear color coded.
Well, he's got some orphans, right, who survive.
Right.
You mentioned that they call it the Yellow Hood, but I'm guessing they're talking about the Yellow
Turban.
Turban Rebellion.
Yeah.
Survivors of the Yellow Turban Rebellion, and there's, I can't remember how many of them. There's a few dudes and a chick, and two of them, the chick, Lin Ying Jun, and her boyfriend, as played by Mu Li Jing, they are spies in the court of the general. What's his name again?
Chang Cheh, isn't it? Chang Cheh.
Right. As played by Dong Jae-hwa, who was also the credited kung fu choreographer here, who also ended up in Kung Fu Hustle many years later. So, and then specifically when I assume, I mean, there's a lot of bits missing in this film a little bit that you have to fill in the blanks yourself, or the slightly Englishy subtitles aren't helping as well. But it seems as if there's intel from these two, and then when there's enough intel, I guess, to warrant some sort of attack, then suddenly a whole bunch of ninjas turn up, who I assume are fighting on the same side.
Yes, I mean, it's worth mentioning that the whole reason for this is because Yuji, as in the Weird Man, the master splinter to this group of color-coded Ninja Turtles, has been killed, and so there's a revenge element to all of this. Yes, which wasn't in the Weird Man version of it, really.
Not as much. I suppose he kind of was.
He revenge, but he gets revenge.
But turned into a spirit with a trampoline, right?
So he revenged himself, didn't he? He avenged himself.
Yeah. There's none of that.
No one avenged him.
But one piece that is also similar is in both versions of the story, the general is wounded and needs to be taking bed rest, and their constant kind of pressuring him is what leads to his death, right? It's not just that they're going to assassinate him, but they want to keep him from getting the healing that he needs to get done.
Yeah.
Right.
And you've got the kind of it's the kind of classic make friends with someone and then have to kill them, and you don't want to kill them anymore,
right?
Because you're brothers and you love each other. Chang Cheh, playbook.
Yes, this general is less of a douche than the one.
That's the thing, is that Weird Man. I think there's less heroes and villains here, right? It seems a bit more nuanced, right, than previously. The other film as well, which we haven't mentioned, but we will be mentioning again, is Five Element Ninja. And we went on a whole ramble last time we recorded this, which I don't think we have to do again here now, because we're going to be doing that when we do Five Element Ninja, right? So we decided on the regular ShawScope program, we normally go chronologically, but every now and again, if there's a reason, we'll jump out of chronology. And so, because we talked Weird Man and we talked Ninja China, the other film that's kind of aligned is Five Element Ninja, or aka Super Ninjas, right? So we're going to jump out of time, and we're going to be doing, on the next ShawScope, we're going to do Five Element Ninjas and some other things. And maybe one of our bits of homework is to maybe track down, because we were trying to figure out, there's a very specific type of burrowing 80s ninja, right? Which was at least like a decade old by the time this film came out. And we were trying to figure out, what the fuck, where does this version of the ninja? Yeah,
but it's not just the burrowing ninja, it's the element ninjas. Yes. So it's the so we said, didn't we? So we located the elements back as far as the early 70s with Deadly Duo, at least, possibly something else from the 60s.
Well, we were talking about Lone Wolf and Cub films as well.
The burrowing, but that's the burrowing ninja. Yeah. But the elements, element warriors.
Yes. And then the two tributaries, maybe.
So where exactly? So what is the point where you get the element and the ninjas?
So that's
the homework.
We're looking for a manga or a film or something. We're just to see if we're going to piece it all together. But more on that next time, I think, because hopefully we'll have a bit more information at our fingertips by
But
then.
the 5 elements in this movie are, we've got a water ninja, and she's our female ninja, right? The one
Yes.
who is involved in the plot to infiltrate the general's place. We've got a fire ninja who does a lot of fire blowing. We've got our earth ninja who does the burrowing under the ground. And then what are the other? Well, we got
There's
the
like a tree ninja, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's like a tree ninja that likes being in the trees.
And he's got claws again. And then is it gold the last?
So I think the gold ninja is like the mirror ninja, isn't it?
It's not gold, it's Matal, according to the sound.
Matal.
Yes, Matal.
So that'll be our hero. That'll be our anti-hero with the mirrors at the end.
Yes, that seems the crappiest, to be honest.
It is the crappiest
5 elements in this movie because it's just reflecting light at your enemies.
But he did win, didn't he?
The guy in the tree is the wood ninja.
Wood ninja.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all very Mega Man. If you remember Mega Man, where you'd have to figure out your villain. Like if you fought the wood guy first, you get a certain power, and then figure out which of the other Mega Man villains you needed to use wood to defeat.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I had a spectrum, so I was playing Bomb Jack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Bomb Jack. Bomberman as well. Bomberman. Very good. Anyway. But so it's essentially in a very small sort of nutshell, it's essentially master killed, ninjas take revenge, defector ninjas infiltrate Chang Cheh, who is related to Romance of the Three Kingdoms, infiltrate his court, become his bodyguards. Then conflict arises between the infiltrators, so the man and wife infiltrators, because the man is not falling in love with, but having a big bromance with Chang Cheh. He kind of no longer wants to kill him. He wants to get closer to him, and you have this kind of dynamic of kind of Ninja HQ asking for progress reports, and there aren't any progress reports, and wifey is getting annoyed, and then is berating husbandy for not killing who he's meant to be bodyguarding when he's had ample opportunities.
Yeah,
and then it all kicks off at the end. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but there's bros now. So they're brothers now. So you can't. It's Chang Cheh.
A lot of feels.
It's Chang Cheh.
Yeah.
Chang Cheh wants you to feel for the bros.
Mm-hmm.
It is a shame Chang Cheh never did get to direct Rose Before Hose, which would have been his
true swan song.
Yeah. But that is it, isn't it? And that is it, and that's where the drama comes from. And Chang Cheh is really, really good at this sort of drama.
Yeah, well, I think the thing we said, I think the main takeaway we had last time was, even though this is, I mean, I haven't seen every single Chang Cheh film, but at a guess, I would say this is certainly not his best, because I've seen much better, but it's probably nowhere near his worst. I'm sure there's probably a stinker or two if you go looking, right? But this is, a compromised, late in the game, having lost his mojo a little bit, Chang Cheh is still extremely entertaining, right? More so
I'm a sucker
any
for
filmmakers
this.
at their best.
I'm always a sucker for this stuff. I mean, because there's an element of this in a big element of this in Japanese cinema, and there it's this idea of giri ninjo, right? Giri meaning obligation, and ninjo meaning human feeling, right? And how often these things come in conflict, especially in Chambara movies, right? In samurai films, where the person wants to do one thing, but obligation or etiquette or whatever demands this other thing. And in this case, that really comes, to a head at the end of this movie when it's the final battle, and the general realizes that his beloved protege is there to kill him, but the beloved protege is also has this obligation, but hates himself for having to carry it out, and then ultimately, offs himself in spectacularly Japanese fashion by committing seppuku right after.
With a sword that is not built for that purpose. It looks very odd. There's probably more people than you think familiar with Giri Ninja now as well, because isn't there a British TV series about some Japanese dude who goes over to the UK to find out what happened to his brother or something. Actually called Giri.
It's called Giri Ninja?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's at least it's called Giri. I think it might be called Giri Ninja. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But you know, but in you know, it's a very simplistic story, isn't it? And that's what Chang Cheh does, and he's done it quite well. Yeah. You know, because I was feeling the feels for the you know, for the angst and the conflict. You know, at the end, that worked for me. But something we haven't spoken about that I know we did speak about before is how kind of out of place this film is in terms of the period that it was made.
The year that Iron Monkey comes out.
Yeah, Iron Monkey, 2 years after Once Upon a Time in China. Swordsman's already happened. Yeah, it's
mid-80s, isn't it, this film?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you were to watch it without knowing what year it was made, the latest date you would put on it would be about 85, I would say.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And also big shout out to the choreographer, who is Dong Ji-hwa, who does a fucking amazing job.
Yeah, seems to be one of this core group who really helped Chang Cheh in this.
Yeah.
Period, right?
But it's still kind of anachronistic because, as far as I know, anyway, and I'm sure there are some mainland Chinese people who will definitely correct me, but no one was doing this style of choreography in 1993. It was all Moon Warriors and Blade of Fury and Once Upon a Time in China and Chinese Ghost Story and Heroic Trio, and that's the era we're in, isn't it? You know, Johnny To and Jing Su Dong and.
But having said that, a very, very, very fluid, fast-paced style, and another thing I kind of reiterate that I mentioned before as well, that it is in a way not there's not too many kind of acrobatics just for the sake of it, or people doing backflips for no reason. It's all quite grounded, but really, really impressive. It took me a little while to kind of get into it, but then once you get into its rhythm, you're like, fuck, these people are fighting at a really intricate, fast pace with the camera moving around from one skirmish to another, all in one shot, and people aren't missing a beat, and it's not undercranked or anything. I mean, these people are. I mean, I didn't seem undercranked to me. It seemed as if these people were performing at this level, right? I suppose it's one of the benefits of filming in the mainland. You can threaten people with killing them. Not that I'm saying that happened, of course.
But no, and it's I said in the lost tapes, but I said that
the legendary lost tape.
the lost tome that one day will be quested for. But I said in the previous version of this that we did that I think if you sat someone down and told them it was a Robert Tai film from 1986, they would probably believe you.
For the camera work, I think, right? That was the thing we said. That was the only thing that.
Well, no, choreography. Exactly. No, exactly. But in terms of kung fu choreography, then that I genuinely think you could sit someone down in front of this and say, "Yeah, Robert Tai did that," and they go, "Oh yeah, I can see that." And you can't do that for many films,
right?
Particularly this period.
And apparently, Lu Feng's in it.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
In fact, playing a character even, credited in the Hong Kong movie database anyway, Yim King, but I didn't see no Yim King.
No. No.
Didn't see him at all. And I ain't afraid of no Lim King, but I didn't see him.
We weren't watching a pan scan version where he was just cropped off screen or something.
No, I think
he's in every scene with the master. It's just he's on the side.
Yeah, the DVD we watched is certainly SD, but it's relative. It's okay, isn't it? It's not bad.
Okay.
It's fine.
I don't think you're losing that much resolution that you would miss Lu Feng if he had a prominent role.
Prominent role in there.
Yeah. Is that Olive from On the Buses, or is it Blue?
No, that's Chang Cheh.
Oh, sorry. How foolish of me. I apologize.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ninja on the Buses. So there we go. We got another one, lads. After
Ninja on the Buses.
And
well done.
Ninja on the Buses.
Well done.
Yes.
I'll
get you, Chow Chow. Right. So anyway, I think we probably covered the main points that, I mean, there's a few bits and pieces, but I think that's it for our compromised, refried, not in ShawScope. Sorry we couldn't bring you the original version, but yeah, something happened with Zoom. Complain to Zoom.
Address your concerns.
Yeah, yes. address the bad workman blaming his tools.
Right, I'm going to let that one slide. And yeah, I guess until next time, I've been Clive Davis. He's fucking rude motherfucker Darren, bastard asshole over there. And
Jones' surname.
Sorry, and
Leprechaun Chang Cheh.
Whoever he is, I've forgotten his name. Right. Yes, I guess we're out of here then.
Bye bye.